In this video, we're going to look at an attendance worksheet. We're going to open up the file by the name of attendance, and we're going to initially open up the sheet called attendance complete. When you look at the finished product here, what we have listed are 10 students. We have 10 meetings or 10 dates listed. And off to the side here, I've totaled the number of classes. 10 dates, 10 classes. The area in yellow will be showing the number of absences for each of the students. So for instance, student number 1 on 6-3 missed that class. Student number 10 missed half the class on 6-3. Likewise, he also missed half the class on 6-19. Which takes us to our first column, which is total absences. Simple formula, total absences is calculated by summing the absences for all the dates. Next column, the attendance, another simple formula. The formula for attendance is basically total classes minus total absences. So we have 10 classes, the student missed 1 class, he attended 9 of the classes. Now a thing to keep in mind here is that our total classes, which is in this area right here in T1, is an absolute. That's why we have a $T, $1. Next column is the attendance percentage. And how that's calculated are the number of classes you attended, which is 9, divided by the total classes. Once again, if we double left click here, we can see we attended 9 classes, which is in M2, divided by the total classes. And once again, that is an absolute. The last column is hours attended. And hours attended, quite simply, is the number of classes you attended, which is the M2, okay, 9 of them, multiplied by 2. So I'm assuming that each class will run for 2 hours. That said, let's click on the attendance worksheet. Now, we already have our students filled out, and we have a few of our simple formulas already inserted for total absences. I filled out already classes that the students have missed. It's all in the yellow. However, what we want to do is we want to begin up here for our dates. We're going to have 10 meetings. Our first meeting is on 5/20. Our second meeting, which is on a Wednesday, is on 5/22. Now we had 10 of them. Now what we could do is we could look at a calendar and then fill in the remaining 8 dates. One way of doing it. Another way of doing it is by using a formula. So our first date here is 5/20. It happens to be a Monday. So the next Monday is 7 days later. So let's create a formula for that. All formulas, so we're in the cell D1. All formulas begin with our equal sign. Click on 5/20, which happens to be in B1. And 7 days later would be the plus sign plus 7. Click the check mark, right? And it's showing us B1 plus 7. That's why it's 5/27. So next we're going to go into cell E1, equal sign. Click on the 5/22 plus 7. So in other words, 7 days later, the following week. So the formula is C1 plus 7. It's 529, right? So 522 plus 7, 529. Now, what we want to do is copy that pattern in those two formulas. So here's the trick here, is to highlight 527 in that formula, then highlight the next one over. So we're highlighting 527 and 529. We're going to go down to the fill handle and drag it across. So we have all 10 of our listings here. Once again, first step, we want to sum our total absences. Like simple. Attendance, okay? Attendance is basically your total classes minus your total absences. It's a formula, equal. Click on the 10, which happens to be in T1. Now the whole key here, the trick here, is that the total absences are always going to be in, or total classes rather, this 10 will always be in cell T1. So in other words, it's a absolute or constant. So I make that into an absolute or constant by tapping F4. So what we have now is a $T, $1. That's our total classes, minus sign, total absences out of 1, right? So we're basically going 10 less 1. Check mark. Copy that pattern all the way down. Next, we're going to go into cell N2 and create a formula that's going to determine our attendance percentage. Okay? Equal sign, 9. So I'm clicking on the 9, which happens to be in M2, divided by total classes, the 10, which happens to be in T1. But the total classes, like we mentioned before, it's always going to be in that cell T1. It is a constant. It is an absolute. So what we want to do next is tap on F4. What we can see here is that we now have a $T, $1, check mark, drag it down. Lastly, hours attendant equal, tap on the 9 classes that you attended, right? So it happens to be in cell M2, and I'm going to assume that each class that you attended should be 2 hours. M2 multiplied by 2. Check mark. Drag down. And we're all set. Now once again, like the value here, by putting it into this cell, I can actually be changing the total classes. Thank you.